Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. We're back in the Swiss bracket. Got Ojutai. I've yet to play it. Played against it a couple times. It's a great card. So we're going to first pick it, despite it being a 7-drop. Other notable picks in here. We've got Lotus Path Djinn, which is probably a close second. And then it's the Harsh Sustenance and Grim Contest are certainly good removal spells. Problem with them being as a first pick, you really don't want to take two colors on your first pick. Of course, I make an exception for Ojutai because it's a bomb rare, and I could still end up splashing one of those two colors, since the only clan that works with blue and white is Jeskai, which typically doesn't want to run 7-drops. So Ojutai is kind of in a strange place in that regard. Wow, immediately past a light form. I like that. I mean, there's also a Sandstep Outcast in here, but light form is pretty bonkers, so I think we're just going to slam that. It's also, like I said, Outcast and a Soul Summons in here. Not too much in the blue department we care about. Enhanced Awareness is fine. Haven't played Refocus yet. I'm not against it, though. But yeah, let's take our light form pretty happily here. All right. Next pick. So strongest cards in this pack are probably Douse and Gloom, Ruthless Instincts. Nothing too crazy, to be honest. Now, I could take the Whisk Away. I could also take the Windscarred Crag. I'm really not giving up anything that's like bonkers here. I think Whisk Away is a good card. I may just want the Windscarred Crag. Because like I said, if I'm playing the 3 colors that makes Ojutai work, the only clan that there is for blue-white is Jeskai. I also said Jeskai doesn't want to run 7-drops, which I would say is true. So it's also possible that I could just... It's also possible I could just pick something... Oh, I ran out of time. I'm taking the Windscarred Crag. Basically what I was trying to say was Whisk Away is a good card, but I'd rather have fixing that could possibly move me into like a Boros deck that splashes Ojutai or something along those lines. I wasn't giving up anything I cared about enough to take something over the land. I hope that explained it well enough for you. Here's a Bloodfire Enforcers, which I do like. We've got a Whisk Away, a Skullkeeper, Soul Summons, all very good. Pressure Point, which is also fine. We definitely want to be heavy white to make the light form work. Could be more of blue-white splash red, now that we have the Windscarred Crag, which I'm also okay with. Or we could be white, red, splash blue. Either of those options are fine. I think I'm just going to take the Soul Summons here. I like Whisk Away too. I just don't know. I feel like I'm definitely going to want to be base white to make the light form work. And now I'm just sort of on a hunt to see what the remainder of our plan should be. Now I just kind of want to slam this Lotus Path Djinn, which does in fact move us deeper blue, but I think I'm okay with that. There's also a Tranquil Cove in here, which would be quite good for us, but I value Lotus Path Djinn pretty highly. I like Right Into Being too, and Crucible of the Spirit Dragon's pretty cute with a Ojutai, but not going to happen. I'm going to take the Lotus Path Djinn. Okay, some pretty good options here. We've got another Tranquil Cove, which still seems like a pretty fine option. There's a Lotus Eye Mystics, which is a way to return in light form, not to be overlooked. Also, Erishan Cleric and Right Into Being. I'm kind of tempted to take the Right Into Being and really gear myself towards a prowess deck. I'll have all of these creatures that are actually spells, but the fixing might actually be more valuable than the Right Into Being as well. This is like the tough decision making of the deck. I usually end up with more than enough playables and not enough lands. So I'm going to take the Tranquil Cove just on a hunch that I'm going to be needing fixing more for this deck. Now we're just going to slam a Dragon Bell Monk, which is another prowess guy, and one I like quite a bit. I probably value it higher than I think most people do. I've heard some people talk some smack about Dragon Bell Monk, but no, I like it. All right, Refocus is pretty good with Prowess. We have an Enhanced Awareness, which I think is probably a more playable card. But Refocus could be good. I haven't given Refocus much of a shot. I do think it's worse than Defiant Strike, so if it's worse than Defiant Strike, then I probably just want the Enhanced Awareness. I mean, it's a combat trick, but so is Defiant Strike, and for a cheaper cost. So I'm going to take the Enhanced Awareness. All right, I've yet to find a deck where I want to play Fascination, so I don't think that's going to happen. I don't really want an Aven Skirmisher. It's not really looking like something this deck's going to benefit from that greatly. I guess I could take Fierce Invocation. It's not much of a splash. It's not much of a card to splash for, despite it triggering Prowess, which is acceptable. But Rugged Highlands also seems pretty awkward. I'm going to take the Invocation here. There's a chance I play it. Not a great one. All right, well, we got the Enhanced Awareness already, so I guess now I can take a Refocus and not worry about it all that much. All right, Jeskai Runemark might be something I want actually quite a bit. I only have two white permanents at the moment. Oh, I guess Lightform counts as permanent too. All right, well, might be enough to make this Runemark good. Otherwise, I'm taking an Arishan Cleric, which I actually do think is a good card, but I'd rather take the Rune. Arishan Cleric might have actually been good for this deck just to buy time to get Ojutai online, but I just think Jeskai Runemark is the most powerful of the Runemarks, since it not only buffs, gives evasion as well. Easily taken pressure point there. Of these cards, I guess maybe Map the Waste is the best. The one I'm on the hunt, looking out for the most. All right, Lightning Shrieker. Whatever. Not super likely to play Fierce Invocation or Lightning Shrieker currently. Could end up just blue-white as well. That's possible. But these are the packs that are the important ones. I don't think Anafenza is worth anything, right? Well, I take it back. Anafenza is worth 3 tickets because it's played in a Abzan aggro deck. I think otherwise we'd easily just slam the Suspension Field, but Horde Chief would also be a fine pick. Treasure Cruise, Efreet Weapon Master, Ride Down. I think we're going to table something from here we like, but I'm just going to take 3 tickets. Okay. Could take the Aerostorm. That's pretty heavy red, which makes me uncomfortable. I think I'm just going to take the Tranquil Cove here, which gives us some more fixing. I'm not really giving up anything too crazy for it. I am giving up an Aerostorm, which I like, but red didn't seem very open in pack 1, so it might be I'm just playing Jeskai clan cards rather than, straight mono red cards, if red is in fact getting cut. But yeah, we're going to take Tranquil Cove, which helps our mana base. We're still doing pretty good on playables. We really have 7 creatures if you count the Invocation, Lightform, and Soul Summons, which I tend to do. Okay, so options here are Swiftwater Cliffs, which gives us more fixing. Dragon Grip, which is not that great. Dragon's Eye Savants, which is fine. Not terribly exciting for this deck, although it's another card that buys us time to Ojutai, which is good. I'm pretty tempted to just take the Swiftwater Cliffs here, because there's nothing that's, really amazing out of this pack. Like Salt Road Patrol, Dragon's Eye Savants. I'd probably take the Savants over the Patrol. And Whirlwind Adept would be good if I end up with Barrage of Boulders, because it does have Prowess, which is quite good. But I think I'm just going to take the Cliffs on a hunch that I'm going to find some Jeskai cards, 3-color Jeskai cards. All right, we're slamming a Kill Shot here. Not very conducive to Jeskai or an aggressive deck, but Kill Shot is a pretty strong card in general, so I'll happily take it. All right, here I think we're just going to slam a Wind Scout. It is very good for our deck since it's got Prowess and evades. It's also a Force Away, which I would like, but we're going to take the Wind Scout pretty easily. All right, Sage of the Inward Eye does in fact qualify as a good card in Jeskai, and makes me much happier about the Swiftwater Cliffs Windscarred Crag picks, since those can be quite disappointing as picks if you don't end up in that color, but it does appear we're going to end up in the color. I'm putting the Fierce Invocation and Lightning Shrieker in the side just because they're not all of that good. They're not all that good. I can take Cancel here, which I think is fine. I can take the War Behemoth, which is also fine. Not great, but fine. Cancel. I very rarely play Cancel. I would like to say I play War Behemoth much more often than I play Cancel, which I think is an actual true statement. So I'll take the War Behemoth. All right, we'll take the Aerostorm now. If we end up with enough, I mean, the fact that it tabled is actually pretty remarkable. Yes, there's a Singing Bellstrike in here too, which is actually pretty good. Probably at its best in Jeskai, but I'd rather have an Aerostorm than a Singing Bellstrike. Even if red is in fact my... What? All right, well, that's shocking, that Suspension Field table. So, pretty remarkable table there. All right, yeah, taking the Suspension Field. Oh, next pick. Now we have the choice between Lurkers and Salt Road Patrol. Since we still have so few red cards, I think I'd rather take the Patrol, which is actually, I feel like Patrol is actually a pretty good card for decks like ours where we have quite a few flyers. You know, we've already got a Light Form, a Wind Scout, a Lotus Patch, and a Sage of the Inward Eye, and an Ojutai. Having a 2/5 ground blocker can actually be pretty nice. I mean, granted, I'm one that likes Canyon Lurkers probably more than most people do. But all right, here I think I'm just easily taking Dragon's Eye Savants, which I think is more exciting than Assault Road Patrol. I actually could take the Whirlwind Adept. Could take the Whirlwind Adept. Does have prowess, which I like. I think I'd rather have the Dragon's Eye Savants. It's going to buy us time better. Some excellent, amazing tables this pack. Or wheels, whatever you want to say. Getting Suspension Field on the wheel is extremely rare. Leaping Master, not that great if red is our splash color. But, I mean, we're going to take it. Siegecraft, whatever. I don't think we're likely to play it. Currently not likely to play this Leaping Master either. Maybe I just want to set it in the side. Sort of get a better gauge of where we're at. Even the Aerostorm's on the fence currently. Like, if I could just run my mana base like this, splashing for Sage of the Inward Eye and possibly like a Weapon Master or something, be much more inclined to do that. Here I'm pretty tempted to just slam a Wind Scout. Gives us another Prowess guy, gives us another Flyer. It's just going to work better in the deck. I like Instigator. I like Master the Way. Master the Way is certainly pretty important consideration, I guess, since we're relatively low on removal. What have we got? Kill Shot, Suspension Field, Pressure Point, Aerostorm, maybe. Could take the Swiftwater Cliffs, which makes the Aerostorm easier to play. I think I'd rather just grab a flying Prowess guy here. A little bit short on creatures still as well, which should be another consideration. I do like Master the Way. There's a good chance, there's a better chance Master the Way tables than Wind Scout. Crippling Chill as well, chance that tables maybe. But let's take the Wind Scout. Okay. Here we've got a second Kill Shot, but I think I'm more inclined to take this Watcher of the Roost, which fits in really well with our flying theme. And it gains life, and it morphs. A lot of positive aspects of Watcher of the Roost. Hope to table the Kill Shot or the Glacial Stalker. Considering Suspension Field table, I feel like there's a decent chance Watcher or Kill Shot come back. But there's really nothing else in here that I care about too much. Glacial Stalker's fine, but I like Watcher of the Roost a little bit more with what we're trying to do. Here I think I slam a Crippling Chill. I like Defiant Strike too, though. I feel like Crippling Chill's better. Even though it's, 2 more mana. I'd rather cantrip and tap something down for a couple turns. It feels like a much better card with all of this flying stuff that we've got. I do like the Defiant Strike. There's actually a chance the Defiant Strike tables. Interesting. I think I want the Bondkin. Another Savants, but that tabled last time. Let's take the Bondkin. That's just a good card to get. Up to 21 playables, which is certainly a good count. I think I'm just gonna take the Bivouac here over the Aerostorm. If I take the Bivouac, there's actually a pretty decent chance I end up playing the Aerostorm, so maybe not, since I only have 2 red cards currently. We're close to just like a blue-white Skies deck. Currently 13 creatures, I guess, so a little bit light on the creature front. Rather. I wouldn't mind having the Salt Road Patrol, but let's take the Bivouac. Just feels like a slamming Feat of Resistance here. I like Weapon Master too, but Feat is just remarkably good card anytime you're in white. I would say twice as good when you're trying to be a dedicated prowess deck, and it certainly doesn't hurt that I'm running a Bondkin, which also has good synergies with Feat of Resistance as well. All right, another Aerostorm. I think we're just going to take the Tranquil Cove. Our mana looks excellent. Treasure Cruise and Student. I think we're going to take the Student. We look like we're already looking like a really good prowess deck. So Student looks good there. He's a cheap creature, which I like. There is a Treasure Cruise, but we have an Enhanced Awareness. There's a Crippling Chill, but we already have one. We don't have a Student yet. Overall, Student's not an amazing card, but I like it quite a bit in this deck. Tabled both Crippling Chill and Swiftwater Cliffs, which is pretty interesting. We already have 23 cards, which means the Swiftwater Cliffs is pretty free to take. We already have 3 red fixers. I could pretty easily take Swiftwater Cliffs and make Aerostorm work in here, but splashing 1 double red card just feels tremendously awkward. I think I'm actually going to take Crippling Chill and just play it over the Aerostorm. And at that point, I probably run 1 mountain for our Sage, and we're at this point a blue-white deck splashing Sage of the Inward Eye, which I have absolutely no problem with. I think we're just going to hate the Incremental Growth, which is probably the best card remaining in that pack. There's a Banner, which seems highly unnecessary for our deck. We're actually going to be a 17 land deck despite running an Ojutai, which might seem awkward, but whatever. Cancel. Good sideboard card to have against Bomby Rares, which there is a lot of in this format. I don't need Siegecraft. I already have one. Whatever. All right. So what's the good news about our deck? Good news is this is our deck. It's completely done. It looks good. We ended up with 14 creatures, which is adequate. And yes, I am counting the Lightform and Soul Summons as creatures. Our removal looks good. We have good finishers. We have some Bomby Rares. Our mana base is good. We ended up getting a card worth 3 tickets. All in all, even if we don't, if this deck does not perform well, I like the way it looks, and I think it should perform well. Rune Mark is still pretty interesting in this deck too. How many white permanents do we have? Because we don't have much on the red front. White permanents. Suspension Field actually is one. Lightform is one, as well as a creature. So 1, 2. Soul Summons is not though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that is. Rune Mark looks great in this deck. Even though most of our guys have flying already, I guess. Still, giving a Soul Summons flying, or a Morphed Savants, or a War Behemoth, or a Dragon Bell Monk, or any of our non-flyers flying, or even giving a flyer flying as well as, even giving it +2/+2 as well as a Prowess trigger, still, in my opinion, seems worth it. I like the way this deck looks. Looks nice. Adequate. Yeah, I'm actually going to rank this deck pretty highly too because of how well our mana base came together. Didn't really see too many red cards that I passed up on. I think I ended up passing up on a few red cards, mostly because... Why did I do it? Mostly because I think I ended up taking land over most of them. I think that was the reason why in most cases. But so we have 5 blue fixers already, 3 red, 4 white. That's already a start with 6 lands. That's a remarkable start to a mana base. Maybe I do run Aerostorm. Let me think about this. I could run it over Refocus, although I kind of like Refocus with all this prowess. But we don't have a lot of high toughness stuff either. It's not like I'm going to get good blockers. You know what? I think I'm going to ditch the refocus for a Arrow Storm. As awkward as this may be, I just feel like I can easily run 6 red sources without even like hurting the mana base that much, I think. So this would be, oh, I see. This is 9 sources of white. I'm trying to think if I do I want to run 5 sources of red for Aerostorm? Ugh, maybe that is greedy. How good is Refocus? I keep asking that because I really don't know. I feel like it's not great. We have all these 1 toughness guys. I don't see a lot of times where I want to untap. I mean, it works well with any prowess guy, especially since it cantrips. And it's a combat trick, sort of. I guess it actually works well with Outlast. I want to make Aerostorm work, but it just seems wrong to run a double red spell in a deck that has 1 other red spell. Like, it just seems so much easier to cut Aerostorm, run either Refocus or Cancel. I'm actually considering Cancel, because if I'm ahead in the board on Skies, holding up a counterspell is actually pretty good. My main argument against Cancel has always been I don't like canceling morphs because I don't know what I'm countering. But Cancel arguably even got worse because Fate Reforged sped up the format, so being able to answer something in the mid game, it might already be too late. You might be dealing with a bunch of 1 and 2 drops that are just beating you down unmercifully. Maybe I want to splash for a Lightning Shrieker. How awkward is that? Maybe not too awkward. I mean, it's no Aerostorm in terms of removal, but it's also one less red mana. So I could easily run Lightning Shrieker and Sage of the Inward Eye. You know what? I don't mind that idea. I kind of like that. Because I feel like we beat down relatively well, and then I only have to run 4 sources of red, which is kind of nice. And then we have 9 sources of blue and 10 sources of white. Maybe I want to do 5. This way I have 9 sources blue, 9 sources white, 5 sources red. 5 sources red for a double red seems awkward, but 5 sources red for 2 red spells to me makes more sense. And we're like a beatdown deck with Ojutai. That's a little bit weird, but I think I like the deck like this. I think 15 creatures, good removal, good ways to buy time, certainly good finishers. 17 lands, card draw, removal. I think we're gonna run it like this. We're going to run it like this. Perhaps I do want to try to make Aerostorm work. I'm really on the fence about that. I just feel like if I do double red, I'm going to want to run 6 mountains or 6 red sources, and 6 red sources for 2 spells just seems excessive, and 5 red sources for a double red seems not enough. So it's just a really difficult spot. The Aerostorm just feels awkward. It just feels like something that could potentially hurt this deck in its strongest point, which is likely its mana base. Maybe, you know what? Instead of Lightning Shrieker, maybe I want to run Fierce Invocation, since this gives me a permanent creature, but on top of that it triggers prowess. Maybe that actually makes more sense. Even though Lightning Shrieker is more like in-your-face damage, getting a 4/4 as well as triggering prowess actually does seem better. Plus having the more extra manifest is like more chances to manifest out a Ojutai, be able to flip it at some point. All right, I think I'm going to settle on the Fierce Invocation, which is slightly awkward splash, but for some reason it feels less awkward than Lightning Shrieker and Arrow Storm. And even though Refocus is something I could be playing in this deck, it's not amazing me. And Cancel seems like another option that I could actually do, but I'm just creature light enough where I don't mind running Fierce Invocation. All right, I'm going to settle with the Fierce Invocation decision. So we're going to run it like this. Overall, this deck is quite good, I think. I would rate this deck pretty high. I think I'm going to rate it at about 7.5 because we have good rares, we have good fixing, we have good curve, we have good removal. Everything about this deck is good. Nothing is like outrageously good, but if everything is good, I rate it about 7.5. So probably one of the better decks I've drafted in a while. All right, I've said enough. Let's go to round one.